check 1, 2. How's everybody doing? If you could let me know how my audio is, leave a comment, let me know if it's good, okay, or very poor. Thank you.
Police are hoping those 3 words will trigger the trip needed to find whoever murdered Abby Williams and Libby German. And tips have been flooding in over the last 24 hours.
In fact, those calls will now be handled by the FBI in Washington, D.C. They'll be listening for anything that could lead them to the killer. We've got David McAnally live for us in Delphi tonight at 5:30 with how else the investigation is changing over the last 24 hours. David?
Scott, we're seeing bigger tips. We're seeing more tips coming in, bigger reward fund in place, and also a trumpet call for prayer. Brad Heath brought all his breath to this bridge, sounding a sacred horn for prayer and healing in Delphi, while downtown at police headquarters, first images of the special call center where operators field tips around the clock. Almost 4,000 phone and emails so far, some generated by the suspect's photo released last week. But half the tips came in just the last 24 hours, since police released the Down the Hill audio. Audio of the suspect, police say, recorded by victim Libby German on her cell phone. Last night, folks from Delphi and around the area met in song and prayer and unity at the courthouse to remember Libby and her friend Abby Williams. Thanks to local donors, including folks like these, a bank, local businesses, the FBI, and more, state police say the reward is now $50,000. And nationwide, the FBI has posted messages about the case on 6,000 electronic billboards in 46 states. And tonight on the bridge across 25, Brad Heath blows the sacred shofar.
Specific directions from the Lord to come and pray over this bridge today. Well, the Bible says in Nehemiah, when you hear the sound of the trumpet, the Lord begins to fight for his people, and the people of Delphi need the Lord to fight for us in this time, this trying time.
Tonight on the Night Beat, we talk more with Brad about something else that drew him out to that bridge, something that happened to him on the day that those girls disappeared. Also, we just talked to Tony Slocum with Indiana State Police, Public Information Officer, asked him why move the call center to Washington. Basically, it boils down to that kind of work is done all the time at that center, and while it was done very well and very smoothly here, They are set up to handle those kinds of things. But if you're calling in, you'll use the same number, same contacts, all of that, and you'll be dealt with in the same way. There might be a little bit of interactive phone. You might have to push a button or so to leave that tip, but apparently the system guides you through it very smoothly. We'll have more tonight on Night Beat. Back to you. Because he was working near the trail the day the girls died.
And had no idea I was not that far from it, so it's bothered me. Well, there's some things I passed along that I hope will help the investigation.
Things you witnessed?
Yes. You feel funny when you think that if I would have paid more attention to this or that, it has to be resolved. This is evil.
We ran into two other people who came to that bridge to pray. One of them, a man who drove 99 miles to get there.
So, I also have a news article with a quote from Brad Heath. Let me pull that up. How's everybody doing? Welcome. Somebody just called in. I was just going to let the clip finish up, and then I was going to pull you on. So if you want to call back, feel free. I didn't mean to keep you waiting like that. Hey, Jules. Rain Dancer. Good to see you, Richard. Hey, what's up, Bill? Yeah, Brad Heath seems legit. But you never know with this crazy case. You know, there's always that 0.01% chance somebody's involved. But you never know. What's up, Grizz? What's up, Hunting? Good to see you. What's good, Zen? All right, let's take a look at this quote here. All right. And I quote, "I had no idea. I was not far from it. So it's bothered me. There's some things I passed along. I hope will help the investigation." And then he also mentioned in a news report that he was working and he was not far from where this took place. So this is what I am wondering. I don't know if you guys can see that here. Let me enlarge this one. So I just kind of threw these images. They're a little bit silly. I just put them together right before we went live here. One of them is from yesterday, but this one right here I just put together. This one and the map I'm going to show you guys. Okay, now bear with me here. Now we're just trying to figure out we're trying to take what we know and tie it together. So we know that Brad Heath was working nearby. We know that he saw something and he felt he needed to say something. I think that's another quote from him. So it makes perfect sense if there was a vehicle seen and they were able to get a time frame on how long it was out there from 12 to 5 p.m. To me, that's almost like there's nobody out at the trails from 12 to 5 p.m. They didn't come to the trail, spend all that time there, then leave and say, oh yeah, well, we know it was there from 12 to 5. No, it was somebody that sounds like a work schedule to me. So either somebody that works nearby, somebody that may go down that street there. So, I mean, why couldn't it have been Brad Heath? He drives by, starts his shifts, or shows up to the job that he's planning to work that day on the 13th. He's an exterminator. He has to drive right by the CPS building. And as he drives by, this is what he sees here. Or at least that's what he remembers seeing. He gets there around 12 p.m., finishes up about 5 p.m., and now I don't know if the person inside is still there, or maybe that's when he saw the person. But another question would be, why would a vehicle be there all the way until 5 p.m.? I wonder if they had to come back and get it. I'm wondering if it was at this point, okay, let's just entertain the idea of Tony Kline and Kegan Kline, and because this is the way the murder sheet's making it seem. This is the way even mainstream media, it's out there in the public. They're saying, hey, law enforcement is looking at these guys. It's no longer like, hey, this is defamation of character. We are now just reporting on mainstream news at this point. Okay, guys. So if we're going to entertain that thought, it is possible that Kegan was a passenger. Tony was driving, went with him to meet them because he's not good with all the social media and all that stuff. So he's like, okay, Kegan, this is what you're good at. This is what I need you for. You're serving a purpose. I need you to get them onto that south end of the bridge. I'm very familiar with that area. I know what I can do. And I know, if anything goes wrong, I'm very familiar with how to get in and out of that area, especially with hunting, fishing. I bet he knows. It's possible that he knows that whole Deer Creek all the way back to the Wabash River. So if he goes down there, maybe just for no intentions of killing, things go wrong, he panics, attacks the girls, stages the crime scene, tries to come back out to the regular trail. But he can't. Why can't he? In this scenario, why wouldn't he be able to come back out to the trail? Because we know that Derek German, we know that Flannel Shirt Guy, and then we know somewhere along there's Cheryl, Cheyenne, all them. So it's a busy park. You cannot come out of there after you just killed 2 girls. You cannot be seen at that point. So if somebody saw anybody coming and going, that could have been Kegan Kline bringing the girls down to Tony, then coming back up and going and waiting in the vehicle. We really don't know. We're just here. It's pure speculation, but we're trying to tie it together with the facts that we do know. So we know that a sketch is not a photograph, and we know people's recollection is never, if anything, it's about 10%. That's being modest. SP says, if Kegan is really telling people he waited in the Jeep, I wish he would say where he was waiting. I'm sure he did. Because he's only going to talk if they have proof. So I'm wondering if Brad Heath is the proof. He's like, yeah, that might be the guy that I seen. Yeah, it was a red Jeep. Seen the red Jeep when I got there at about 12 noon. That's when I started my job in that area. And then I seen a person sitting in the passenger seat around 5 p.m. or vice versa. It could be either or both. Maybe he was sitting in there at 12 and all the way to 5. Who knows? So is it possible this is a recollection? Like a skinnier looking, maybe the appearance of curly hair? Maybe Tony dragged him out of bed and his hair was all messed up. Like, come on, we're going to go fix this problem that you created for me and my dirty friends. Yeah, I mean, the features are very similar, right? You kind of got like this tiny little nose, but from a side view, it's bigger. But if you're looking directly on it from this perspective, it looks like a smaller nose, pouty lips, small and I guess creases on the ends. Look, that's what you see on Kegan, kind of giving you that, I guess, chubby cheek look. And even here, they kind of have where he's kind of got a chubbier face. It's kind of indented around the mouth area. The chin's pretty close too. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good sketch if that is what happened. What's up, Derek? Miss Dog Lover says, I just feel like TK is more capable of this level of violence. He's a psychopath. Just my thoughts. Yeah. I mean, it's very possible. There's a lot that we still don't know. Hey, Courtly. What's up, Grunge Truck? Good to see you. Turbo says, I believe it was a kidnap to take them someplace else. And when BG saw 2 girls based off of what one girl said was sent to her, Anthony shots BG. Oh, maybe whoever was on the other side of that drop box. Yeah, who knows what's going on with that? Are they selling profiles? I mean, he seems like he was pretty good at catfishing. He had the friend, he had Libby, he had all these people were fooled. So he was maybe engulfed in that fantasy. He may have actually been like living in that fantasy. He would never meet them, that would end the fantasy. He fears ridicule. Now, in my opinion, Tony, on the other hand, he seems to think he still got it. He still seems to think he's almost like still in that high school mentality. So he's delusional in the opposite way. What's up, Chopper? Good to see you. The Rockaways, hello. True or false? Law enforcement had an easy way to know about Anthony shots on the day of the murder. No, that's false. And the reason I say that, because after listening or reading the interview transcripts from Kegan's interview, they make it seem as if he had them completely fooled. And if the ski mask incident is 100% the way we understand it, that means that somebody else was completely fooled by this Anthony shots profile and more than willing to risk getting in trouble and doing something they weren't supposed to do. I mean, he had them fooled. So it's almost as if he had okay, now put your mind in kind of like a criminal world where you're surrounded by scumbags and you see Kegan Kline. You know, he kind of has a skill that these bad people would be interested in. Like, hey, Kegan, can you do something for me? Or can you help me target somebody? Or I don't know. Maybe they just felt like, hey, you've been doing this since 2014. You haven't been in trouble. Maybe that built up somebody's confidence. Like, it's obvious they can't connect you. Whatever you're doing is anonymous. Maybe that gave them the confidence they needed to feel like they could get away with it. Or at least maybe wear a disguise and commit a sexual assault. You know, I think they just picked the two wrong girls and it didn't go well for them. And I think it's just dumb luck. The moving and the staging, I don't think it has anything to do with misleading or anything. I think it's just all out of panic. I don't think there's anything strange, like non-secular. It might, you know, maybe it has something to do with part of the way they were posed. Who knows? Maybe he put a cross there like, hey, like I feel bad for what I did, you know, like now that I've come to and I'm no longer blacked out. You know, now I'm feeling regret. Similar. That's the perfect word right there. All right. So I'm going to pull up another. Now, this was posted by J. Kyle Keener. And I guess I can pull it up on the screen so you guys can kind of take a look at it. So let me zoom in on this. So at the time, J. Kyle Keener was working for the Pharaoh's Tribune, and a lot of the coverage by them, the photos they use are attributed to him. So he commented this: "It has been a tragic day in Carroll County," and take note of the date. February 14th, down at the bottom left. The scene of a double murder. One thing they never teach you in journalism school is how creepy it feels to have to cover a homicide. For several hours, I photographed the search for two missing 13-year-old girls. This type of endeavor is stressful for searchers, the first responders, and also the media at the scene. Detectives found the bodies of two missing teens near a rural hiking trail below the abandoned Monon High Railroad Bridge. The bridge itself in incredibly beautiful, making it difficult to witness a horrific murder scene so nearby. From 75 yards away, I could see girls' clothing in the Deer Creek east of the bridge and knew full well that the girls were found nearby. So that's the part I want to focus on here. So he says 75 yards away, I could see girls' clothing in Deer Creek east of the bridge. So if you were standing on the middle of the bridge and you were looking towards the crime scene, he's saying that you could see clothing in the water. Now, is he referring to the clothing that's like stuck on it seems like there's some clothing stuck on the trees. And people, they try to say that like it's bodies and stuff like that. I wonder if he's referring to that or if there's actually just clothes sitting there floating. Is that possible? Because to me, if there's clothes that are just sitting there and floating, it's almost as if somebody that morning flung the clothes out into the water, right? Because you would think unless they just traveled from where the shoe was and somehow made it downstream to that point. That's the part that has me confused, and that's the part we're going to finish today's conversation on. So let me pull up this little map that I put together for you guys. And it's going to tie in all this information with Brad Heath, J. Kyle Keener, little bit of information from Kelsey German. She's the one that kind of told us where the shoe was found. All right, let's try to catch up here on the chat. Hey, Big Fish, has Tony had any other violent charges after the one with his stepson? Well, I know he has a charge for stalking as well. That's all you can do, Copper, because you don't know. I mean, it's very possible that this is all circumstantial and it may be connected in some way, but I mean, we don't know for sure what's really going on. We don't know. So you're 100% on that. The sketch has curly hair. Yeah, but the sketch is also not a picture. You know, it's not like they don't know this person. It's coming from what they kind of remember. So maybe maybe his hair was just messy, or maybe something he was seeing at the time. Let's say he's sitting in the car and there's some strange reflection on the glass, and in his memory it appeared like he had somewhat curly hair. It's just a recollection. I don't know if you've ever tried that, where somebody walks by and then, you know, they ask you, okay, what was this person wearing, or what color was this person's eyes? And you're just like, I don't even remember somebody walking by. So yeah, it's just that recollection. Yeah, I think so. The new direction presser. I think that's the new direction. They were like, okay, we got to clear Ron Logan out of here. Okay, he's clear. You know, I think about April of 2017, they had a witness that put him completely somewhere else, you know, made it impossible. So they're like, okay, we got to go in a new direction. So we got to figure out what's going on with this Anthony Schott stuff. We got the ski mask incident. Let's run by Brad Heath and do a photo lineup. Hey, do any of these guys look familiar? He's like, this guy seems somewhat familiar, but I don't remember him being that, you know, that chubby or whatever. Boom. Kegan Kline circled. All right, new direction. Just thinking out loud on that one. Okay, so let's jump right in here. Hey, hold on. Let me get a couple more of these comments. Yeah, we just got to stay away from it. Even female could be involved. Yeah, there could be a female involved. Why not? Daz says, I wonder if he's having phone porn withdrawal sitting in the Jeep for so long. My guess is TK planned a sexual assault until he was kicked in the nuts. Yeah, or he could have went down there. He could have got pissed off by something. I mean, his past says that he has rage. Some people black out. There's people that black out and wake up and they're at a crime scene and there's blood everywhere. What's up, DFN Go? So they obviously went to TT's house and KK left his primary cell phone there. Drove to the private drive near the south end of the Monon High Bridge. And maybe Ron Logan met them there. I don't know. I just don't see Ron Logan. I don't put Ron Logan into this scenario. I don't take him out of it, but I definitely don't put him into it. And hopefully fall he will. It's disgusting to think of TK and KK as a team. I definitely think TK is a psychotic egomaniac. Yeah, they seem dangerous in their own way, you know? And together, this is what we get. But at the same time, this could be a father cleaning up a son's mess, so to speak. You know what I mean? In their mind, they're like, okay, you're coming with me. You know what I mean? I need to pick up some things over here. And maybe that's when, I don't know, maybe Kegan's phone automatically connected. You know, some phones will automatically to a Wi-Fi that it has a password to. And when he was asked to leave his phone there, maybe it was just automatically connected and he was already searching porn. Let's see. The Rockaway says, I think it's true. Libby's friend knew she was meeting a guy and they had contact with Anthony Shots themselves. No way a 14-year-old girl could keep quiet about her boyfriend. Mm-mm. So they were so fooled by this profile, even after the crime, it may not have, and they could have spoken up. We don't know if the ski mask incident was 100% how they got, you know, their eyes on Anthony Shots for the first time. We don't know that 100%. But it seems like, yeah, that would be the case. Why would the ski mask incident even ever happen? You think that they would have been like, okay, guys, behind the scenes, like you guys need to stop talking to this Anthony Shots. You know, law enforcement would have warned them. And the ski mask incident wouldn't even have happened if they were aware of Anthony Shots. Okay, so about 228 yards is 75 or 200, about 226 feet, I think, is about 75 yards. And on the map, if you measure it from the center of the bridge, it's right in this area. So J. Kyle Keener is basically saying at about 10 a.m. or, well, we know he was at the bridge at 10 a.m., but it could be at any point from 10 to what, 1 or 2 after, because we know he was already back there. So they sealed off the area, and I think he kind of stayed or snuck back there. I know he got in trouble for something, so I don't know if it was him just staying back there and taking photographs that he shouldn't have. I'm not sure. But he did take some photos of Tony Leggett right by the crime scene. So we got clothing here. Why would there be clothing here? Can somebody tell me that? Why is there clothing here if the crime happened over here? Kelsey German says the shoe was found below where the private drive bends. Okay. So Kelsey was standing right here. And somebody yelled up from down here. Said, hey, what kind of shoe does your sister wear? And she said, oh, you know, black and white Nikes. And they said, well, we found a black and white Nike. And apparently there's footprints that are leading directly into the water here, kind of going in this direction. Now, directly in this direction is the crime scene, according to the Ron Logan affidavit. Crime scene is right here. And if it's a Tony Kline scenario, one thing you guys need to keep in mind, if you're trying to move these bodies and you're him and you're not in that great a shape, it's right at this point where it begins to go uphill. And you can kind of see the terrain right here. It's a lot flatter right here. So if you're walking up this way and you're actually carrying somebody, because we know they were moved, how else are you going to move them? Unless it's something elaborate. Well, there's nothing to say that. So he's moving them as far as he can in this direction. Because if he goes this direction, he's going uphill. If he goes this direction, it's uphill. And if he finally meets the end of this flat area about right here, that's where he left them. Now, Erskine says covered, all panic. So moving, staging. So it has nothing to do with, I don't think anything is pointing at filming or the snuff stuff and all that. I don't think that that's playing a part. I don't see that anymore. I just see panic and staging and signatures that are also out of panic and guilt. And I think that's why they think this person is local. 1, the location. 2, the voice. You know, that person has the same sounds like that region. So the accent is regional. There's another. And I mean, just frankly, just knowing the girls, I guess, and being able to reach them like that, you would assume they were local, right? Slocum always says the totality of evidence leads us to believe this person is local. Okay, so please help me understand how there is a shoe here and multiple items of clothing somewhere over here. I just don't understand that. I mean, is it possible the killer traveled in this direction? And also another thing that may prove that they're local, if you look close here, the water is extremely shallow right here. Do you see that? This almost looks like the best place, one of the better places to cross. So, original crime scene, and this is just a theory. Original crime scene, moving and staging to this location. Out of panic, you have the leaves and all that strange stuff and all the evil stuff. You know, he probably did all that maybe over here. Or, you know, if it happened over here, it was some premeditated, just pure evil at that point. Hey, what's up, Fig? So I guess my question is, could those articles of clothing have, you know, and what was it, almost 16 hours, kind of traveled downstream and got hung up somewhere over here? Yeah, I think the private drive definitely is playing a much larger role than we think. I mean, what's down the hill? It's that private drive, and I guess also privacy for somebody who's familiar with that area. And I think once the story unfolds and we figure out who really did this, I think we'll find that the history proves that this person spent a lot of time down there as a youth, maybe. All right, we are coming up on the hour mark. So if there's anybody who wants to call in and join me live or just ask a question, that option is always available to you. The link is in the description. I welcome, you know, everybody's welcome to call in and get it off your chest. Hi, Nadia. John. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we can't really prove. We don't, you know, but the information could be solid. That there was a person seen at 1:30 on the south end of that bridge. That would indicate maybe an ambush type situation. Yeah, that's a good question, Crystal. Because if the one thing that stood out to me is if you could see clothing right here, I mean, how is it going to come all the way downstream and just stop right here? I mean, it's possible. But if it's just floating in the water, to me, that's highly suspicious. It's almost like somebody could have been down here and just chucked it over here or walked down this trail. It might be too steep on this end. But yeah, definitely somewhere over here. I don't know. Unless you guys think it's possible it could have floated. Yeah. It's not like an actual it's not an actual capture of somebody. It's a recollection. Okay, so I have a suspicion that this is where I think there was a crime scene that took place right here. Okay. Right here underneath this secluded from that residence over here, because this is kind of a cliff right here. All right, hold on, guys. I think we have somebody calling in. Bear with me a moment. Is this Spogill?
Hey, Slew.
Hi.
What's going on? Been a little while, about I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks now. Yeah, John from Kentucky, currently living in Florida. We spoke once before.
Yep, I remember you. How you doing?
Got an echo again, and I'm wearing an earbud. I don't know what would be causing it. Let me see if I can do it fine.
It's probably me. Hold on, let me turn my microphone down. I think I've been turning my mic up too high. Okay, how's that?
Let me see. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, I got you. I got you now. This is good. Interesting live stream today. I just I still got it. I don't know why. I guess let me turn off my do the stuff I do. Okay, that's all right. I had to turn off my YouTube and just leave my chat app open. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Interesting live stream. I enjoyed the content today. I think that you're probably, in my opinion, being too eager to close the door on everybody else as suspects or people of interest, though. I think that it probably does look pretty good, to be one of the Klines or both of the Klines, but I'm not at a point yet where I'm ready to close the door on all other possibilities. And that's just one piece of feedback. And
you would never do that.
Right.
The case is closed,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
And just, I remember, gosh, I can't remember how long it's been now. I just went through a hurricane. And,
Wow.
I had my power out for a while. And of course, I didn't get to see any content for several days because my internet and my power were out. And so I feel like that I'm catching up again now. But I remember, having the news dropped on me that Kegan Kline had confessed to being, maybe the getaway driver or maybe being in the Jeep, waiting. And then I think it was a night or two later, some of the, creators were saying, no, not so fast. He hasn't really confessed to anything yet. And, but I remember when that first night that news dropped, and that he had possibly implicated his father. And I remember feeling such a feeling of relief, and really, I felt really happy and relieved. And I remember thinking that this thing is finally going to be over. And then the next, I don't know, night or two or 3 nights, feeling so frustrated and disappointed again that I remember it was on a Friday night. I think the news dropped, and they said, "All right, they don't want to do a press conference on a Friday because it's going into the weekend, but we're expecting a press conference on Monday." And I remember Monday coming and going and no press conference, and I remember just I don't know, just wanting to grit my teeth. And so I, I don't know how many times I can go through that. I'm starting to feel jaded and cynical now. Do you know what I mean? And
Well, if we learned anything, I remember mentioning that.
right,
And I also mentioned, see, people only remember certain things of certain parts.
right.
But shortly after that, I presented what happened during the New Direction presser.
Mm-hmm.
And I also stated that before the presser, they had let everybody know that they were planning on doing a presser on the following Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And I also mentioned that that had not taken place.
Yeah, I'm not as I haven't been in as long as like you and a lot of the other people. That was my first real time at allowing myself to feel happy and feel certain that it was if it wasn't I think who was it, Winston Churchill said it's not the beginning of the end yet, but it's the end of the beginning. And I was kind of thinking that it was maybe getting close to starting to move forward some. And now I'm back to just cynical and jaded again now. And but I guess my biggest, I'm rambling now. My biggest commentary was that I'm not ready to close the door on some of the other POIs yet. I know that I think that it looks good for the Klines, either one of them or both of them, but it's not to a point yet where, especially after the fiasco from where they were already, or at least some of the content creators. Some of the other ones were more cautious, but I fell for it. I'll just confess that. I'll put that out there. I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. And
Well, I try to learn from the family, and they warn us about this stuff because they've been dealing with this kind of stuff since Daniel Nations. And then this same thing happened with Chadwell. Everybody got all excited. Hey, this is looking like the guy, and everybody just wanted it so solved. But the family said, "Be patient. No, nobody jumped the gun." And they said it publicly. If we've learned anything, listen to law enforcement. They'll tell us, they'll guide us, and they'll let us know what's going on. And sometimes that leads to the wild speculation. Like, it would have been good for law enforcement to come in and stop all the speculation by setting us straight. But I think that something might be coming. Something might be coming soon.
gosh, I
I
hope
mean,
so. But
why
I
else
can't.
wouldn't they get in front?
I don't know. It's and I'm because that night I asked that night we spoke. I asked you, who your POI was, and you said that you, as a POI, liked Kegan Kline, and I remember kind of being skeptical that night, and then it was only a night or two after that. It seems like, or if it was, I don't know if it was only a night or two, but it wasn't long after that. That news dropped, and I thought, oh man, look at here, I was wrong, and Sleuth was right, and then of course then the disappointment set in again. But I'm getting that. What is that? Once bitten, twice shy. I guess and I didn't go through some of those early on ones. The Daniel Nation, I wasn't around yet at that point. And what was the other one that you said? but I didn't go through all those build ups and then let downs. So this was my first one of those, and so just disappointment and frustration is what I'm just bitterness and jadedness too. And so I'm back to where I was that night we talked, where I think that that they have absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and it's possible, and you're not alone in this. A lot of other people are feeling the same way you are. Um, but we got to take that personal responsibility. If we're allowing people to yank us in one direction, letting another group of people yank us in the opposite direction, like at some point in time, we have to know that at the end of the day, I'm making the final decision on what I think. You know what I mean?
I think that point is well taken, and because I do tend to follow whatever this is not a flattering statement for me to say it. It doesn't speak well for myself, but I mean, it's, you got to be real, don't you? And I tend to, I did this in some of the other true crime cases that I followed, on YouTube or I even read books and things about it, podcasts and whatnot. And I remember on Jack the Ripper, I spent months of just consuming all the media I could about Jack the Ripper, and the John Bonet case too was another one that I kind of you might even say got obsessive compulsive about.
Mm-hmm. The John Bonet one, that's a mind bender.
It is
till this day.
Yeah, it is, and I went through the whole gambit. I thought, well, it was John Ramsey. And I thought, well, no, it was Patsy Ramsey. And I thought, well, it was an intruder. and I guess what I was getting at is it always seems like it depends on whose book I read the last, right?
Yeah, didn't John Douglas get it wrong too, right? Like he got a lot of flack for getting it wrong on that one.
Yeah, and it's and I don't think they're. I mean, that's unless they have one piece of DNA left. I think with that one, and they've used all their DNA for testing. Back through time at times when the protocols were more primitive than they are now, and people are saying, well, now we have the technology. If we can only use that last bit of DNA that we have, we might be able to make a break in the case. And the father wants to do that. Of course, if he was a suspect or if he was the one, he might want them to waste that, but other people are saying, well, let's wait till we get even better technology than we have now. But and I think the governor of Colorado, was getting involved in that. I think the father was appealing to the governor to try to put that together and make that happen. But I don't know that one was I think you were right. It's just a real mind bender, and all of them, the Jack the Ripper, the John Bonet, and now this one, I tend to my theory tends to be skewed maybe somewhat by the last good video that I watched or the last book that I read, and that's maybe a bit of a self-critique, but anyway, after maybe I'll not be so fast to jump on the next bandwagon that comes rolling through after our big disappointment.
Well, it's a learning process.
So as I listen to myself, I feel like that I might be at the end of my helpful or interesting commentary now, and then I'm just rambling on, kind of mindlessly. So I usually have one or two good things, and then and then I kind of get stuck. So I'm gonna.
Well, John, you sound like basically the people that I deal with on my channel, my subscribers, members, and people that just stop by. Those are their same sentiments.
Well,
So you're kind of like the voice. you're the voice. You're the voice for them right now. So they're feeling what you're feeling. I've already felt it. I've already made my mistakes. It's kind of the same way I feel when I watch the Unsolved. We've been talking with him, and he's been kind enough to join us the other day. But he's an experienced journalist, but he's new to the craziness of YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's being attacked and he's getting all this. Like I've already went through that. I've already went through being exhausted trying to argue with every bad comment,
Mm-hmm.
So he's going through that learning process now. He might be a seasoned journalist, but I've already been there and done what he's going through. So I'm becoming now, I guess, slowly a seasoned, I guess, YouTuber person, you know what I mean? So um it's just it's a learning process. So as a viewer and you're watching all this take place, you just have to be cautious. And I've made the same mistakes, and that's how I knew not to jump on the oh, Tony Kline was arrested. You have no idea how many Facebook messages I got that morning, how many emails I got from people that I really listen to and have given me good information in the past. But I knew to trust my own instincts because those are the ones that matter.
Early on, I think maybe within my first week of watching videos, because this info was out, for, well, as we all know, 5 going on 6 years now. And I saw it in YouTube and I just skipped over it because I thought, well, it's a sad case and I hate it, for the people involved. But, I don't really know how yeah, I do know. There's oh gosh, I wish I could think of his name now. I watched a video about it and I got hooked in on it. And this guy's a really good presenter. He's an ex-cop, kind of a tough-looking, bald-headed guy. I also think he was an ex-Marine. He's not one of the main, half a dozen or so content creators. He does all kinds of different.
Is he the older guy? Is he older?
40s or 50s maybe.
Oh, okay. I'm not exactly sure
he's
who you're referring to.
Yeah, I'll think of it, later on. But anyway, I saw his video about it, and I just got so intrigued. And then I went on, like I do, my obsessive compulsive, like EverQuest to find every piece of. I looked at every YouTube channel, and I looked at every your Reddit group, and all of that. And I remember about a weekend or so, I remember my own personal first POI that I came up with was Ron Logan, and they was based on his appearance. You remember the day after interview where he had a blue jacket and a brown hat.
Me too.
And
me too.
And kind of like the shuffling walk kind of a thing and all that. And I thought, man, here was this, here he is, this is it. And I suppose he's been looked at, every way from Sunday. I know that one of the creators is back on him again now. And
A bunch of people are.
Well, he's
and he could be. I mean, we don't know. We don't know 100%.
Hey, everybody forgets this too. Just because somebody might be BG, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are the murderer either, does it?
Yeah.
I mean,
who knows? Maybe they were
it's not
threatened.
automatic.
Maybe the BG was threatened, and they're like, "Hey, if you say anything, we'll kill your whole family."
I don't know.
I'm not saying anything like that happened. I'm just saying we don't know. Like, there's always that 0.001% chance that it's a complete different direction.
And I have some other theories that I'll wait, some other time whenever.
Sure.
Whenever I'll call in this, and this is my second call in, and I enjoyed doing the first one, and I thought, I've been kind of. I miss a lot of your live streams because it's not a good time of the day or night for me, and I just hit on this.
Yeah,
you can't
you can't use a hurricane as an excuse.
Oh, right, yeah, yeah. Oh man, that was my first.
Just
one,
kidding,
dude.
man. I hope everybody's okay, man. I didn't mean.
Well, it's in my town. I'm about 60 miles inland, but over on the coast, they're really, really still hurting. There's a county over there. Lee County, and I think they're still pulling bodies and stuff out over there. It's horrible. That's the one that's right over there by Naples and I think Sanibel Island's over there, and Sarasota. And it's I've seen the news coverage of that on my local station, which comes out of Orlando, and I mean that they're close enough. They've got their own men on the ground over there who and it's just it's horrendous over there. And
You guys seeing the National Guard and all that out there? Pretty heavy.
we had
I
National
know.
Guard in my town, the next, I don't know, 2 or 3 days after, but they're all cleared out now. Everything's back to normal over here. All of our
Good.
stores are open now, and all of our gas stations are open, restaurants are open. And I personally was out of power for 3 days. I didn't have any
wow.
damage on my house, but there's houses up and down my neighborhood on both sides of me, that lost their roofs, and a lot of privacy fences are down. That's the worst thing I think that got hit. Everywhere you look, fences are laying down on the ground. Not much tree damage, and I don't know why. Coming from Kentucky, we had tornadoes, and I expected there to be more tree damage here in Central Florida, but there wasn't. Our winds here that night were 75 miles an hour, and
Oh, wow.
we had 15 inches of rain in my town, and which, I mean, back in Kentucky, 2 or 3 inches overnight was like a deluge, right? And
Yeah, the flood.
here we had 15 inches in one night. It was nuts. I don't ever want to go through that again. I guess if I live here long enough, I will. But
Hope not.
not looking forward to it anyway. So I'm going to move on down the line, and maybe somebody else might want to call or something. But
Well, we're gonna call it a night, John. So
Okay.
if you want to just put out your final word, we're gonna end the stream here.
Oh,
I appreciate you calling in. I really like having these kind of calls, and thanks for calling in again, because you had some good feedback on your other call. I don't know if you checked out the comments or
I
anything
appreciate
like
that. I would have to say that I haven't called into any other live streams before. I enjoy you as a presenter, and I like your personality, man. And that's
Thanks.
I guess
I
why I
appreciate
feel
it.
like that.
Ditto.
Well, that's the reason why I think that it's. I feel comfortable about calling. I don't feel like some kind of a jerkwater calling, because you're a nice guy, and I enjoy your personality. But anyway, I'll try to watch for another live stream, and I'll try to come up with some more helpful feedback or something I think would contribute in some way, and maybe we'll talk again in a couple weeks or whatever.
Well, it'd be good to get another check-in on your kind of your perception of the case at that specific time, and kind of see how you're looking at things again.
Well,
because you're kind of stuck on the roller coaster like we all
yeah,
are.
yeah. But if I had to sum it up, I can be long-winded and rambly, but if I had to sum it up, I'd say anger and frustration right now is what I feel now, because I thought we were on the brink, and then it just got shattered. Whenever the days kept going by and nothing happened, and it became evident.
Yeah. Just stay optimistic if you can. Try to stay positive. That energy, if you believe it or not, I think it helps.
It's we're going on to a level. It's like 5 going on 6 years, and
Yeah, I'm calling it 6 years at this point.
It is, yeah. So I don't want whoever did this to maybe die before they get to be brought to justice or something, and
Yeah.
what I mean. I don't want 10 years to go by
the family needs a choice, and the choice to confront them in that court of
You're
law.
right.
They need to be able to
The family
say what they
members,
need to say directly to them.
Yeah, right. Of course, they're not that old. I guess the Patties might be in their 50s maybe, but
Yeah, they're young.
But some of the other family members, I'd hate for them to die either, before they got a chance to confront somebody. But yeah,
That would be heartbreaking, and that does happen.
it does.
So if we can get justice before anything like that happens, I think we're in a good position. It's still early for how bad this case is, and how tragic it was. I mean, we're still in the first part of it,
Mm-hmm. I hate to think about it that way. I mean, because to me it seems like it's dragging out forever. But they close cases all the time that are older than this. So I mean,
Yeah.
This one still could be. Well, all right. I enjoyed the show tonight, and I'll try to make everyone that I can, and even the ones that I don't get to see live, I always go back and watch them after the fact. But we'll be talking to you sometime down the line.
All right, John. The pleasure's all on this side, buddy. Thank you so much.
Take it easy.
All right, take care. All right, guys. Another one's in the books. If you're catching the replay or if you have any follow-up questions, please just leave it here in the comments. We'll follow up on them as soon as we can. And make sure you guys have a great rest of your day. We'll hang out for maybe 2-3 minutes.